So I've spent the last few days watching every interview, podcast and beat making video that I could find so that I could put together a list of all of the best pieces of advice that they have on becoming a better beat maker. So today we're going to be taking the advice and putting it to the test to see if it really works and helps me to make better beats and be a better producer. So let's start with probably the most popular producer out there, Metro Boomin.
Starting with your drums first and securing a for sure bounce that's gonna work. It's a true hack. If you just all the way lock in a crazy bounce and then building everything else on top of that.
Alright man, so drums first, starting out as a basic trap beat idea, but then I'm gonna try and make it a little bit more different. Do a little roll there maybe. Ooh. I never ever normally put the kick on the same position as the snare, but something about that just sounds right, so I'm gonna go with it. Alright, and then I'm gonna use my brand new kit, Essence of Trap, to build the melodies around this now. Let's see if the trick works. Let's get a bell melody on here as well. Actually might be getting somewhere. Let's get rid of that original element there. Okay, so that's pretty much my beat that I made with this technique. Overall, I'm going to give this piece of advice 7.5 out of 10. Overall, I don't think it really helped me make anything better than I could have made if I just not started with the drums, if that makes sense. But definitely still a cool bit of advice to try out, so yeah.
Like, I just try to keep shit simple with the hardest drums. That's all what I used to always do. Just keep that shit simple. My drum bouncy, super bouncy. Can't never go wrong.
So I'm going to start with the melodies this time, but we're going to go super simple and just try and put most of our focus into making the drums as crazy as possible. Try a different key. I feel like that's enough, but it's my instinct to want to add more, so I'm just struggling with that, but I think that's enough. Let's go to the drums and yeah, try and make them as bouncy as possible. We're going to start with the simple shit, 2-step hi-hat and a snare. Oh my god, he was right. Don't worry about the melodies, just get something basic down and just get them drums bouncing. You're gonna have a fire beat. So I give that advice there a 9 out of 10. That worked perfectly for me. So yeah, let's move on to the next one.
Take your time with picking sounds and sound choice. So sound choice for melodies, all that stuff. I feel like it's very important to have good taste in what you're picking, you know?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Murder Beats mentioned about having great sound selection, and I can't agree with him anymore. And that's why I created the Essence of Trap sound kit, because I want every producer to get access to the top sound. The Essence of Trap is an amazing sound kit. It's got over 2,000 sounds in it, from live instrument sounds to analog synth sounds to effect pedal sounds. Everything you need to make the most insane trap melodies just like this. So if you want to get yourself a copy of Essence of Trap, it is available right now. Click the link down below. There's currently a really good sale going at the moment where you can get a bunch of bonuses included, and it's only available for a limited time. So yeah, link below, check it out, Essence of Trap.
For me, I always approach things on an unorthodox level. There's always a particular bop that everybody uses, and I'm always just so tired of hearing it. So I try to misplace things awkwardly, deliberately misplace like kicks. Like don't start a kick on a 1, like just come out of nowhere and then put like a 808 randomly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because everybody puts it on a 1. So let me stand out, let me do something different.
So the typical drum bounce would be something like this, where you just have your 2-step hi-hat and you have your snare on the 3 like this. So let's try and take some of that advice from Boy Wonder and switch this up and experiment with where we place certain sounds. Just by moving that snare from here to here, we've got a completely different bounce. It's actually harder than it looks to make this work, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't tried to do a kick over this yet. This is going to be interesting. This bounce is definitely very unique and very odd. I'm verging on something that I actually quite like. So I definitely think this piece of advice is really, really good. It's just a little bit difficult to put into practice sometimes. Like, it's often a lot easier to just default to the norms and like what you're used to doing, like the more generic type stuff. I definitely think this will make you a better producer if you do this constantly and you make a conscious effort on doing it. Yeah, overall I give this technique an 8.5 out of 10, and I definitely think once you get it down, you can make some really cool shit with this.
It's too much going on, you know what I mean? It's like, and that was a true testament to like, damn, one of my biggest songs ever is one of my most simple beats. Like, they stripped away all the extras, and that's something I still hold to this day. Like, I feel like the quicker I do beats and the more simplified they are, the more placements I get.
So to test how effective this advice is from Hit Boy, we're gonna find an acapella we like, put it into FL Studio, and see how many layers it takes before it sounds too much. Let's give it a go.
Put up, I don't hang with rats, that's some new type shit.
So let's see what Hit Boy's on about. Simple, basically, is what we're going for right now.
Got a nigga wet on news type shit. Sippin', drinking, active on screw type shit. Just got a nigga wet on news type shit. Sippin', drinking, active on screw type shit. Just
we're already like nearing the limit. We're only 2 sounds in.
Got a nigga wet on news type shit. Sippin', drinking, active on screw type shit. Just
I think that's it. I genuinely think that's it. That's all you need. Let's put the drums on and see what it sounds like.
Got a nigga wet on news type shit. Sippin', drinking, active on screw type shit. Just said her run through crew type shit. I got a bitch, niggas always get confused type shit. Atlanta nigga live like T Turner type shit.
I think the only thing that could be added is like a lead sound in this section here.
Took a hold down with the gang, now she thinks she my ninja type shit. Shot that she was the one I would forever have about speech. The people say hold me plain, I'm on some make it type shit. Anyone down for the teeth, I still ain't smiling for this bitch.
Yeah, I think that basically proves that less is more when it comes to getting artists on your beats. If I had made this beat without the acapella on it, I definitely would have probably overfilled it a lot more than this. Just because like this beat to me is like so unimpressive. It sounds more impressive when you got the vocals on this. You need to kind of like look at the bigger picture, I think. So yeah, that's definitely what Hit Boy is getting onto. And yeah, it's definitely super valid advice. 9, even 10 out of 10, you know, so important.
A lot of the records I sample, the moment might just happen for 5 seconds. It just might be a 2-bar moment or an intro or an outro. And that's what we make the beat out of. And it's like the diligence of listening to all these records and waiting for that moment gives you your scope. There it is. That's the shit right there. I'm staying with that part.
So I've actually got a really, really good beat to demonstrate how effective this advice and this technique is when sampling. It's basically 2 really small portions of 2 different samples put together to create this really nice loop. One of the sample chops here and one here put together, and they are just basically both here. So I used the intro of this sample. That's all I used of that, literally 4 seconds. And then I grabbed probably about a 2-second part from this sample. literally that's it. Put them together, we got a really nice little melody sample here, and that's all it takes sometimes to make a fire beat. So if you're kind of getting a bit overwhelmed when looking for samples because you can't seem to find anything that's substantial, be aware that you can do a lot with a little. So yeah, big up The Alchemist. That advice there is 10 out of 10 when it comes to sampling. Super valid.
In 2022, someone who is sitting down to make music for the first time, what I would tell them is put as much stuff as your computer can fit on your computer, which means sounds, samples, any type of idea you can get from anywhere, whether it's Reddit or a site like Splice or whatever. When you sit down and make music, if you have more cool things to pick from, more things that sound really good, it's gonna start you off with confidence. You might, by chance, end up on something you love faster.
We're gonna just put what he's saying into practice and just drag in a bunch of stuff until we find something cool, and hopefully it should be quicker than, you know, the traditional composing route for making a melody, you know, hunting through plugins, presets, and all that shit. So yeah, Essence of Trap, let's go. Let's make sound with this. Oh yeah, I like that. And that shit took me like, what, 4 minutes, G? So yeah, speed. And then we just put drums over this. So yeah, there you have it, man. When you got access to all these crazy sounds, the ideas just start flowing so much easier. Yeah, man, definitely check out EOT, Fire Kit, link down below in the description. But yeah, the advice from Kenny, 8, 9 out of 10, it's valid as fuck. The only thing I'll say is just be aware